Hey guys, Kevin Downey from Kevin M. Downey. Thanks so much for taking the time today. Really appreciate it. This video is about, title is AI for Business. You owe it to your employees. And it's a bit of a misnomer in saying that it's not complete, right? It's not just that you owe it to your employees. More importantly, you owe it to yourself as an owner, right? So if you're an owner of a business, what I want to talk about in this video is AI, training and adoption in companies, and where we're at in business in the United States, especially in SMB and mid-market, with employees using their personal AI accounts for work. And enterprise companies have moved beyond that, and they did quite a while ago, as they are just so self-regulated. They have boards, and they have, and sometimes they're in regulated businesses and all kinds of different things, right? So they have moved into very formal training, very heavy training programs. They have very strict protocols within their organizations. They have dedicated business accounts, whether they're using Copilot or they're using Anthropic's Claude, which, again, 8 of the 10 biggest companies in the world are all Anthropic accounts. Over 70% of the Fortune 100 are on Anthropic's Claude. There's a reason why, right? It's the best product on the market for what it does. It's kind of a bit of, I would say, a bit of a sensitive topic, in the sense that for business owners, it's like a little bit scary, right? Because they think, oh my gosh, another thing where we've got liability risk out there. And so what I wanted to just say in this video, and it's more just a message, right? And we've got a ton of documentation, by the way. This is just a sample on Claude design, right? And we work with clients on everything related to AI training and development within companies and planning. But I work mostly on the front end with owners, one-on-one, and marketing teams. Just because marketing, there is so much standalone manual use case of AI, and you can do so much with it between Claude and Claude design. And then, of course, owners as, AI as a thought partner. Is such a huge thing. And really what we're seeing in small business and mid-market is AI's movement through a company correctly has to come from the top down. In other words, an owner has to be engaged with AI. They have to understand how to use it as a thought partner, because once they do, then everything goes through the company with a plan and correctly. The biggest mistake I am seeing in companies is they have a very specific thing that is takes a lot of there's a lot of task replication or repeated duties or tasks that people are doing, and they want AI to replace that person. And that in and of itself, there's nothing wrong with, right? You should get there. But it is really dangerous when companies go straight there without an understanding at the owner and leadership level what AI is and what it does. And so one of the first things I do when working with clients, and it's not always necessary, right? But I do a lot, is I work with them, on owner or owners, on AI as a thought partner. Okay. And it is important. It's important that owners understand. The more that they understand and use AI as a thought partner, the easier everything goes from the top through the company as far as planning how they are going to use AI. And it also lends itself towards the company then automatically understanding, because the minute an owner realizes what is involved in AI and how much it can do in its power, excuse me, they also immediately understand that their people using their personal AI accounts and not being trained on AI and how to use it, not just within their role, but just in general, and having some level of policies, even if they're very simple policies, right? And we have a whole document for clients as a how-to, get ready and use AI within your organization, and having dedicated accounts. And again, I'm going to recommend Anthropic's Claude by far, right? Either pro or team or enterprise for really big companies. Most small businesses and mid-market companies don't need to go beyond the team version. That said, it is a very inexpensive tool. Everybody is going to be using it, right? Again, when we talk about knowledge workers, we're talking about 100 million roughly in the United States, with owners included in that. So you're talking about 55 to 65% of every working person in the United States is a knowledge worker. Every knowledge worker is going to be using either is or is going to be using AI on a day-to-day basis. No way around it, right? It's here to stay. It is the most powerful thing. Maybe you could make the argument that the internet, obviously you had the the invention of the computer, and then the internet, right? But one could argue AI is even more powerful, right? Because at the end of the day, it actually can think on its own. I'm using the term loosely because obviously it's not thinking exactly, but it acts like it's thinking, right? It acts like a person and can act like a person, and it can make judgments. It makes judgments is technically what it does, and it can take action. Right. And that's when we talk about agentic AI. So for an owner, you need to wrap your head around it. You need to get your arms around it and understand what it does and its power. And it really starts with owners using it as a thought partner. And then it delves through the company and using it as a task accelerator, right? And a standalone manual use case and marketing department. You have 12 different categories. I'm just using this as an example, and 150 use cases that we have in a PDF where you can use AI for marketing purposes, right? And then we have a whole sample document of just different samples. And then, of course, you have Claude Design, pitch deck, logo, videos, anything, landing pages, internal, Figma builds, right, for systems. You can do so much with it that a marketing team, and I talked about this in another video, marketing team for the stuff I built for this fictional company took me about 2 to 2.5 hours to build the company, give it a background within a project with characters in the company, an owner, a couple of leaders, a couple of worker name, people, have 35 employees, specing everything, their revenue, their customer base, everything, and then build a logo and 6 assets I was able to do in about 2.5 hours with Claude and Claude Design. The marketing work that I did that took 2 hours would probably take, we estimate that if you had 2 to 4 people on it full time, it would take them days to do that same production. And I was able to do it without being a marketing, graphic designer. I was able to do it in a couple of hours. The level of power is just, in the acceleration and the power that it gives your people and you is amazing. So it's not something that's going to go away. And so we need to wrap our arms around it. We need to get involved with it, and as owners and leaders within companies, and understand what is being used. And so a couple of pieces of advice that I would give you as an owner is, first and foremost, I would make sure to get your people trained on AI, whether they are going to use it as a thought partner, or they are going to you're going to build a task accelerator, and it's one thing that person does. So the HR gal in your company is going to use it to help write all her job ads, right? Just as an example. So it's writing for, right? So building those prompts out and building that so it's done correctly and done at a very high level. And it's something that is going to hold your brand there in every ad, and so on and so forth, right? All of those things need to be structured, right? We can't have employees just be running the Wild West on their personal AI accounts and we're going to come to that in a minute. But you want to have some cohesion and cohesiveness, and I'm going to show you an example of how you do that. So first step is you go build, you get a business account on, say, Anthropic's Claude, and you do either pro or team, depending on the size of your company, or enterprise, and you establish a project. And you can do this by department as well, but you can do it for your whole company. And so this fictional company has an entire project. This project gives the baseline background of the company, the people involved, their customer base, their revenue, their colors, their brand schema, their logo, their geographic location, the whole story and everything is built into it. And so what you then can do when you do that is you can control the output within your organization when people are using it, and the backdrop that Claude is working from, and you can make it consistent and cohesive across your brand and across your company. So that's one thing that I would say is very important for companies and owners, in particular in small business and mid-market companies, to consider. The other thing is make sure everybody's trained on it. Again, whether they're going to use it as a thought partner, or you have employees that are only going to use it as a task accelerator. That's fine, right? I mean, there's all kinds of, AI is a task accelerator, right? 7 ways your team can use AI to work faster starting out, right? There's just so many basic things, but training them on that, right? Helping them get better at it, and not just leaving it to them to try to figure out on their own. We definitely have seen from the data that training at the enterprise level is very, very high and developed and sophisticated. But in the small business and mid-market categories, and mid-market is technically behind small business in this respect, they're not training their people. And it is a big, big mistake. They are leaving it wide open, letting people try to figure it out, and they're all doing it on personal AI accounts. And that now, and yes, when it first came out, I get it. Can't do it anymore. All the data is there and all of the things are there. And we have an entire document called The Risks of Personal AI Accounts at Work. This is a research report done in Claude. If you don't know what research mode is another thing. When you use AI as a thought partner, research mode is amazing. And the stuff that it can pull and do and put together and all this stuff, it just blow you away. If you want a copy of this, just reach out to us. I'll give you our website at the end. Reach out to us and I'll give this to you. This is going to, you read this in 2 pages, you're going to understand exactly why you need to have business accounts for AI, and everybody on your team needs to use their business accounts specifically for work and only for work. Their personal account, they can use ChatGPT is great for that, right? Their market usage is consistently, the data shows that it's a personal use type item. Claude by Anthropic has flipped, right? It's, whatever, 70-some% business use, 80% business use, 80% of their revenue comes from their business stuff. Again, 8 of the top 10 companies in the world have enterprise accounts on Anthropic's Claude. And remember, a lot of those are on Microsoft and have Copilot, but they're doing Anthropic's Claude specifically for AI for their companies. You have over 70% of the Fortune 100 are on Anthropic's Claude. And it is, again, it really is a tool that is built, designed for business use. Okay. This document, I ran the report and read it once, and I was just like, and my son is on the verge of starting his law career. And I sent this to him, and we haven't had a chance to talk about it yet. But it's no doubt when you look at this, you are going to see very clearly and very quickly what the risks are if you allow your people to use their personal AI accounts for business. It is extremely dangerous to your organization. It's not a risk for them. For the most part, it's a risk for you, though, big time, because there is so much personal information that is being put in these in work, in AI, right? They're putting in, can have company information, you can have employee information, you can have customer information that they're running through AI to run reports and to run all kinds of different things, right? They're trying to do stuff with CSVs and all these different things that they're trying to figure out how to do on their own. And they're doing that stuff on their personal AI accounts, and there is absolutely no protection for you whatsoever in that regard. It is a massive risk. It is a massive liability, and I am not a lawsuit guy. I'm not a fan of that stuff. But at the end of the day, it's an exposure thing. You just can't take the risk. So my advice to you is, first of all, if you want to reach out to us, you want a copy of this report, please let me know. I'm glad to give it to you. Obviously, it's worth reading. It's 12 pages. It'd take you, 30 minutes to read, 20 minutes to read. But what you want to do is immediately I would get on a call with me, my team. You want to go to another AI specialist out there, talk to them about setting up dedicated business account for your organization regarding AI, and get every one of your people immediately, every knowledge worker immediately on as a user, right? No different than if you have Microsoft Office, no different than if you have Google Workspace. AI is now an essential. It's, again, 55 to 65% of knowledge workers in the United States. Every one of them is or is going to be using AI daily as part of work. And so you have to have dedicated business account for your organization and put everybody on it as a user, and it is not expensive. If I remember the most recent team Claude accounts for business, it's like $25 on month to month per user, something like that, $21 if you pay annually. I mean, it's a no-brainer because everybody's going to use it and they're going to be on it more and more and more. So anyway, hopefully that helps you. If you want to get a copy of this report, you want to talk about it for your organization, let me know. Schedule calls in the upper right-hand corner. Our website is kevinmdowney.com. We'd love to work with you, help you with what we do, running our AI quarterback program, whether we come in on a 1-month program to work with you as an owner, whether I'm working with the marketing team or I'm working with people in general within your organization, or you want a long-standing, AI leader in your, or, to work fractionally or part-time in your organization. That's what we do. So reach out to us again, kevinmdowney.com. Thanks for being here today. Best of luck in business in 26, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.